Good morning. Welcome to the fourth hour. It's always so great to spend time with you. I really appreciate you being here. Hope you're telling friends as well. The numbers have been getting bigger, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. The Christy, no, really, let's concentrate on this a little bit this morning because she is now the director of Homeland Security, and she is out. And this is the photo that I'm seeing at the New York Post. Fox News is the one you're seeing right there of her out. She also is sharing some additional information on her X account. So let's go there as well. Let's pop over to X and see what she's got happening there as she was present in New York City with these raids this morning. Here we go. This is her account on X, and she said arresting some criminal aliens this morning in New York City. Thank you to the brave officers involved. And there she is meeting with folks. This would have been prior to she's speaking with them ahead of time. And then you see her sitting with everyone right there in the front row as she is sitting with them during the briefing this morning, and photos of officers in action as well. So there are stories. You can find stories on that. This is from her account on X, and you can also find stories on what happened at Fox News Radio, or excuse me, at foxnews.com, as well as at the New York Post. They both have more details on this as well. Also, I think the reaction to this is, what is Steve saying here about Selena Gomez? I looked up Selena Gomez. I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I doubt I've heard any of her music, never seen any. Did you ever see? And you may have been just that age where you wouldn't have caught it. My kids are young enough. They watch The Wizards of Waverly Place. That would be certainly one thing that my kids know her from. But yeah, I think there's been a lot made about this, about Selena Gomez. And again, if you still this morning at the New York Post, which I really lean on pretty heavily, a lot of things that are reported at the Post. That story is still, I think, on their front page. I should take a look here. And they're reporting on Big Apple raids. So this is, as I mentioned, Christy Nome joining the Department of Homeland Security. So New York Post, that's their big story. Yeah, and then right below that, I'll show this to you. Right below that is the Selena Gomez story. So the above the fold is about the raids in New York City, which, as it should be, there's the photo that I just showed you of Christine Nome, the director of Homeland Security, and then right down below, well, here's what Trump's borders has to say about Selena Gomez's reaction. So, yeah, there will be, I think, a number of people that Selena Gomez is not a household name. I mean, for many, I don't think she, I know who she is. Would I say she's a household name at my household? Yeah, I don't know that I'd say that, but Holman reacting to this, no apologies for the raids that ICE is carrying out. He said, all my people are getting attacked. Or excuse me, this is her. She's in tears in the video. I'm interested in Holman's response. Here he was asked about it on Fox. So he said, if they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operation without apology. We're going to make our community safer. It is all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward. Holman said that he didn't think that any families have been arrested. So, the again, he doesn't believe that any families have been arrested. And again, he's made it really clear it's going to be the worst that they're going after. Those are the folks that they want to get out of the country quickly, are the folks who are dangerous, the folks who are a threat, so on. Those are the folks that they're going after initially. Are they going to work their way down then to bagging others? I think it will absolutely come to that, which is one of the reasons why Holman has been saying, get out of the country. And he's been saying that now for weeks. Okay, I had a thought that had crossed my mind. It's something that I wanted to share, but I just think at this point, I think we'll move on. But I think what Holman is doing and what DHS is doing, I'm going to continue to be a little bit taken aback by their reaction. Oh, I just remembered what I wanted to show you. I got an email from somebody. Let me pull this up, and I'm going to share a letter. It was Jeffrey who sent me this, and it is a letter from the bishop of the ELCA. Okay, this is the ELCA, the Lutheran Church, ELCA, and I have a real trouble with this right out of the gate. Not because siblings in Christ, grace and peace to you in the name of the triune God. I must write to you now with a heavy heart and profound sadness, with a sure hope in Christ alone. I can no longer remain silent in the face of overwhelming presidential executive orders. Oh, no, don't do it. Thrusting our nation into chaos. Oh, yeah, it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the chaos agent. Willfully widening the rift between people. Is it Donald Trump who has widened the rift between people, or this bishop who's widening the rift? And then, and the letter just goes on. And they say, while I could steward my fears leading up to the presidential election and inauguration, I am no longer willing. Oh, my heavens. Oh, please. And again, this just goes on. The Reverend Constance Hagemeyer, a female bishop in the Lutheran Church, responding. That is like crazy. I mean, what's your reaction to that? What's your reaction? I'm just like, are you kidding? Donna, Bishop, you were able to hold your thoughts during the Biden administration, huh? As law and order was just absolutely trampled, and you were able to keep your mouth shut during all of that, and now it's just, I mean, that kind of stuff drives me bonkers. It just absolutely drives me crazy. You have got to be kidding. That to me is just absolutely shocking. Jeffrey, I'm glad you sent the email. Jeff said, thanks for talking about the threats to our country. It's been Christmas every day since November 5th. Yeah, Jeffrey, you feel like many of us. I feel the same way. And then he said the bishop of the South Dakota Synod, ELCA, recently penned a letter this is the one I just showed you. Is she emulating the National Cathedral Episcopal Bishop? I may be reading it wrong, but is this a veiled attempt to call Trump Hitler? Jeffrey, that's an interesting question. I read through the entire thing. I didn't share all of it with you. It's incredibly self-serving. I didn't get a comparison between Donald Trump and Hitler. Maybe because others have done that, we're a little sensitive to it, and maybe I didn't see anything that provoked that image in my mind, but I got to tell you, Jeffrey, I was just like, wow, absolutely floored by this. And I got to read that again because write to you with a heavy heart and profound sadness. I can't enunciate my words, but with a sure hope in Christ alone. I can no longer remain silent in the face of overwhelming presidential executive orders thrusting our nation into chaos versus the Democrat Party the last 4 years. You have got to be kidding me. I mean, seriously, that is just like so incredibly shocking. And this is a problem. I think Dan is absolutely right. Keep politics out of the church. Absolutely right. It's just mind-boggling. And then Kathy is saying, typical for ELCA Lutherans. Won't find a letter like that from other Lutheran pastors. And Kathy is correct. The ELCA Lutheran Church is, unfortunately, those are the kinds of things that you see pretty commonly from the ELCA. Unfortunately, and I'm not trying to denigrate those who are members of the ELCA. If you're a member of, I'm not trying to denigrate that denomination, but I agree with Kathy in that regard. Unfortunately, we do see that typically fairly regularly from those in the ELCA. It's unfortunate. I am, as a Catholic now myself, there was a story, and it's been trending yet this morning. Let me see if I can find it, because it was about J.D. Vance. Actually, I should have pulled this up for you previously. Let's go to Free Spoke, because I know they had it earlier today. J.D. Vance talking, and specifically to Catholics, and with some frustration. Let me see if I might have been better off to just search that, but I've got to tell you, Google search doesn't return requests for a number of stories. I continue to be really disappointed. Okay, we're getting close here. And Senator Lindsey Graham, I just am frothing at the mouth. Criticizing Trump over the January 6th pardons, sent the wrong signal. I just wish Lindsey Graham would just shut up. I mean, it's crazy. We're getting very close here. Forgive me. I should have pulled this story up ahead of time, because here we go. There was one story in particular. Here we go. Catholic bishops. This is the one that I want to share. Okay, I'll pull it up here for you. Let me close some of these windows. Here we are. International Business Times. Vance attacking the Catholic bishops over their stance on immigration. So I'm going to enlarge that just a little bit for you here. He responded to the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops following their criticism of the Trump administration and the rule change, which permits ICE raids in churches and schools. Vance's remarks came after the bishops then condemned the policy. And so Vance said, as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. He said, I'm interested in what Vance said more than the Catholic bishops, because they can be incredibly liberal at times. Catholic bishops. He said, I think the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? If they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden. See, this is the conversation that's not taking place about these children who have been sex trafficked. And Holman is bringing it up. Vice President J.D. Vance is bringing it up. I think he's absolutely right. So he was asked, are they actively hiding criminals from law enforcement? He said, I think the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has, frankly, not been a good partner in common sense immigration enforcement that the American people voted for. And I hope, as a devout Catholic, that they'll do better. Sadly, I am not a devout Catholic. I'm still a Catholic. I would be lying to you, looking you in the face and lying if I told you I was a devout Catholic, but he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. So some of the nonsense that we are seeing from our clergy, whether it's the ELCA, whether it's the, Catholic bishops, on this issue, they are lost. They are absolutely lost. And it's this infusion of politics into everything. Politics has invaded everything under the sun. And so you got the church. Certainly, there are some issues, I think, for the church that are political issues. And the church should be able to address those and respond to those. I think that is something that needs to happen. For instance, the big A word. The A word would be one of those issues that, okay, and I'm not going to say it because social media doesn't react well when you use that word. So, but that issue, the church has an obligation to address that issue, right? And it's frustrating for some, I think, especially those who are more liberal. They don't like it. They get up and walk out of church. I've seen it happen. They get up and walk out of the services. So churches do have an obligation to talk about these things. But this is the rule of law. This is law and order. And this is a little bit what I was saying yesterday. We have gotten so far, America has gotten so far away from the rule of law that when you see it being implemented, oh, it's terrible. You got Selena Gomez bawling on social media about how somebody tell me what to do. What can I do? What the hell is that? I mean, this is just bizarro world, left and right. So, and it's everywhere you look. Absolutely everywhere you look. Edgy is saying, after Biden's pardons, nobody anywhere should be saying anything about President Trump's pardons. Yeah, I kind of agree. And isn't it interesting that, and I think, who was it? The Newsbusters, I think, had a piece. I think it was Newsbusters that had a piece talking about the media and the number of times they're talking about Donald Trump and his January 6th pardons. It's getting more coverage than Joe Biden's pardons did. It's getting more coverage in the media. Oh, they're making all of this reaction to the January 6th pardons. And then you got, forgive me, but Senator Graham, Lindsey Graham, Senator Graham, what goes through your mind, sir? What goes through your mind when you're out there and you're upset? These Donald Trump pardons, I mean, give me an absolute break. So here's Lindsey Graham. Some of these Republicans are just addicted to the Sunday shows. They are. He's on Meet the Press. And so I'm on the Sunday shows again. Thank God, like the country is just dying to hear from Senator Lindsey Graham. Really? I mean, come on. You know why Meet the Press has Lindsey Graham on? Because they know he's going to be a puppet who's going to puke up whatever they're going to love it. They're going to absolutely love it. And he's there. It's just so frustrating to me. I get really so tired of those folks, and he's one of them. When Senator Graham gets it right, I have told you on the air, hey, I think Senator Graham is right on this. I agree with him. And usually when I say that, it's also, this is kind of a refreshing change. It's nice to see Senator Lindsey Graham on the right issue or on the right side of an issue, once in a while. And I have got to say, I think I am saying that more now about Senator John Fetterman, who's a Democrat. I am saying that more about Senator Fetterman than I am about Senator Graham. Because Senator Graham, it's just like, really? Here we go again. It's just, it's it's just crazy. Sean is no fan of Lindsey Graham's. Yeah, yes. And I wonder if for Lindsey Graham, I wonder if it's all about him getting on those Sunday shows and he's on Meet the Press again. And it's just crazy. And I agree with Kathy in what she's saying here. Absolutely. And of course, nobody in Congress wants term limits. They talk about it, but they don't, Congress is never going to impose term limits on themselves. It's one of the reasons why I really believe we need a convention of states. That's an issue that we've got to start talking about again, the convention of states. I would like to see the convention of states start to make some progress in our own state legislature, because we're one of the states, unfortunately, sadly, that's been incredibly slow to adopt the convention of states and get on board, because then we're going to get into the Constitution and suddenly we're going to have all of our fundamental rights are going to be stripped from us. No, they are not. That is not, absolutely not true. Absolutely untrue. So that's something South Dakota has been behind on, in part because thankfully we've got a new legislature, and I have been excited. The vote that they took yesterday when it came to carbon dioxide, the issue of CO2 pipelines. And the vote that was the House of Representatives, yes, yeah, I no longer have them here. I wanted to share at least a little bit more information on the specific votes that they took. But I think we're seeing some good things happening in our state legislature. I hope that continues. But the convention of states, it's one of the things that Mark Levin has talked about in his radio show for quite a period of time. I haven't talked about it for a while. I think that's a topic that you and I need to revisit, especially if that becomes an issue during the legislative session this year. Maybe that's one thing that we can talk about during the fourth hour. I can do a little bit more homework, and we can kick around this issue during the fourth hour. But it's something that our state legislature needs to move on. I've been really, really frustrated with our state legislature. They're very liberal positions, despite the fact that it's controlled by Republicans, so-called Republicans, that control the state legislature. And yet, in previous years, we have seen some incredibly liberal policies coming out of our state legislature. There have been things going on there that have been concerning to me. And I have been really, really hopeful that, especially just watching, is this new legislature getting underway and the things that they're doing. Hopefully I'm just really hoping to see some changes this session. And I think we are. So cross your fingers. Let's hope that that continues. And I think I'll leave it there for today. I'm going to ask you to hit the like button before you go. If you got a like-minded friend, tell them about what we're doing, and we'll leave it there for today. Have a great Tuesday. See you again tomorrow. Or if you're not here, I'm going to come find you. And especially if you've made it now to the end of the stream, you made it this far, special thanks to you, because you guys are, you're incredibly loyal, and I'm so grateful for you. And I hope you know that. So take care. See you again tomorrow, my friend.